just turned this up. Can you hear me better? Can you hear me? Alright, shut up. Everyone just shut up. I'm recording. I have had to turn the air conditioner off, so you better listen, because I've had to take all of my clothes off. I'm recording this naked with no clothes on. Don't worry, my wiener is not hard. It's soft, or at half-mast. Mast? I don't know. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in your life and my life, and then the life we share together in the media, right? You like that? You're gonna hear me breathing and I breathe loud. It's what people note about me on a PlayStation Live. They say, "Who's breathing?" I say, "That's me. My nose doesn't work, so I have to breathe out of my mouth." Anyway, Chris Khalifa. Who's this guy? Chris Khalifa? Is it Mia Khalifa's brother got canceled? Something about that. I don't know. I don't really care about that. I recorded a podcast with a comic, and we will go through the allegations, and I didn't even release it because by the end of the allegations, I just realized, like, oh, there's only, like, one thing in here that is actually questionable. Everything else is just like, oh, he found out they were not 18 or over, and he stopped all contact with them underage. So I can't even really bash. I'm not going to dogpile on. I'm not saying he didn't do anything, but I'm not going to dogpile on with no facts. Even though I'm talking about it right now, talking about how I'm not going to talk about it. But I don't know. It's just, I mean, sure, it's weird. If any of my friends I hang out with on a regular basis was like dating, bringing around like a girl who just turned 18 or even under 20, just bringing her around to like being like, yeah, this is a relationship I'm pursuing. I don't know. It would be weird, and I probably, would, if it was like a trend too, if it wasn't just one girl, if it was a trend, then I'd be like, dude, I can't hang out with you. If your trend is going downwards in age as you go upwards in age, that's just too fucking creepy. But, like I said, I'm not going to say anything about Chris D'Elia. I'm only going to spend 3 minutes on it, which is the longest I've spent on any subject so far in this podcast. What else are we going to talk about? Pit bulls? You guys like pit bulls? Not pimples, pit bulls. I live in the hood in Chicago. There's a lot of pit bulls. I don't think people should. Here's the thing, like, if you want to have a gun out here, you got to have a license for it. You got to show people you know how to control it, you know how to use it, you got good trigger discipline. But a pit bull is just a wild fucking animal, and you don't have to have any kind of certifications, and it could just get out and murder someone. And the worst, you're not going to be held, they're just going to fucking put the dog down. You're not held responsible for having a killing machine in your backyard. Because that's what pit bulls are. Let's stop kidding ourselves. They're not fucking dogs. They're killing machines. It's like we downbred wolves, but we upbred pit bulls. If that makes sense. Like, we downbred the poodles from wolves, and then we went the other direction for pit bulls. We're like, how can we get them to be more muscular and devastating if they bite you? So that's what I think. I think let's institute a permit law if you want to have your rescue. And I'm saying that with air quotes because you're not rescuing it. It's rescuing you if someone tries to attack you. That's the only term rescue that applies to a pit bull. You like that sound of my breathing? I'm not going to edit any of that out. It would take too long, and I have a learning disability. That's what I say. That's what I say to people. I smoked weed for every year that my brain was developing, so now I have a learning disability, and you have to bear with me. Damn, dude. So much. Sorry, I'm going through my phone trying to see if I had anything to talk about. I mean, I know this is kind of boring, and I take responsibility for this podcast being boring. For every second that you're wondering, why am I listening? What is the interesting part of this? I take responsibility. Isn't that such bullshit? Fucking celebrities acting like they don't live in an all-white gated community, but also going like, you need to live around more black people. I just don't want to. That's a joke I did on stage, actually. Something like it. And some people would like it, and some people would get real angry about it. I would go, I'm a white Chicago liberal, which means I'm like a big supporter of equal rights, but I've also never had a black neighbor. And black people usually like that joke because it makes white people uncomfortable. And there might not even be truth to it. It might just be funny to watch people squirm. No, this joke's too cruel. I can't do. No, I'm not gonna say it. We'll leave that for another one. I gotta write some joke. Sometimes you gotta write a joke out before it doesn't get you canceled, before you're even hired. There was something else to talk about. No, that's just another dumb joke. Damn, dude. All right, so 2020. I mean, we're all talking about it. Before I get to what I was going to talk about, let's just talk about 2020. It's bad because it validates all normal people's. It justifies us having anxiety or depression. Because usually you'd be able to just go, take a weekend off, maybe take a tab of acid, go hiking, whatever, get a new perspective, and be like, oh, things aren't that bad. And I'm just, over-exaggerating how bad things can be, and life is actually pretty good. But the more and more I think about 2020, and it's like not even the media pushing like a narrative anymore. It's just like, you can't escape the fact that this might be the end in a lot of ways. And that's why people are feeling a lot of anxiety and depression. And it started with quarantine, and quarantine really made us zero in on why we should end America. I don't think it was going that direction until quarantine. I think we were just going to stay chilling on the status quo, At some point, though, things went haywire. And that's the problem. Like, people don't play enough Call of Duty. If people just stayed off Twitter and played Call of Duty, like me and my friends, I mean, would things be as bad as they are if people didn't get so goddamn politically active? There's people that need to be politically active, like people like experts and people, who studied this for their living and it's their passion. But then there's other people who are like, I don't want to buy into this whole movement, and I've never had a black friend, but based on my research of black crime stats, America is a great place to be black, or whatever. And it's just like, it's making everyone polarized. And that's the thing. 2020 is shitty. And that's why if you come at me, and I had someone come at me with a New Year complaining about their New Year's resolutions. They said, it's so hard for me right now to stick to my New Year's resolutions. And I said to them, go fuck yourself. No one's sticking to their New Year's resolution. And for you to complain about it to me makes me want to put you in some kind of medieval torture device. When did the Spanish torture people? There's I don't read enough books to remember. There was a specific time where Spanish people were really into fucking putting you into weird things like Iron Maidens, which, by the way, isn't a real thing. Iron Maidens weren't real. That was just a historian found a bunch of spikes sitting next to a coffin. He's like, wouldn't it be crazy there were spikes in this coffin and we closed it on you while you were alive. But that never actually happened. And again, had that historian been playing Call of Duty, would he let his mind wander into these crazy realms of thinking Iron Maidens were real? You hear my breathing? I'm constricting my breathing because I don't want to take a full breath because it's embarrassing how badly my nose works, or lack thereof working. I gotta be a little quiet. I get a little self-conscious what my neighbors here are gonna think. Dude, my neighbors will not stop. Like, I don't know what it is about this year, because I lived in like urban areas before, but this year people have been going nuts with fireworks. Like, every night for the last 2 months, people have been lighting off fireworks. And it's not like lighting it off on Friday night once. It's like every night at like 9, 11, midnight, 2, 4 in the morning. And it's not like a barrage of them, something that I could be interested by. They literally light off enough to wake you up, and then nothing more. And then enough to wake you up another 2 hours later, and then nothing more. What do you get out of lighting one firecracker? Okay? This is why they made them illegal. Not because you're going to blow your fingers off. Who cares? That's your thing. If you want to be dumb enough to not know how to light an M80 off, that's whatever. That's not why it's a law with fireworks. Just because people are annoying by nature. Especially teenagers. They just want to annoy you. And I get it. But it's like, it's happening at their house. Don't their parents have a job? Or sanity? And why don't they get off my lawn? Fucking kids. Man. Fucking fireworks, huh? I think you should, kill everyone who lights a fire. No. Anyway. I don't condone fireworks use. And you know, no one should. Unless it's the slow kid in the neighborhood, then that's okay. But we all had a slow kid in the neighborhood growing up. The kid in my neighborhood was named Paris. I think they were French or something. This is when I was really young. And he would sit in his driveway every day in the summer when he was home. And he would blare his mom's minivan horn in the car. And just blare the horn all day. And you'd hear his mom from the top window of the house. She'd open it up and she'd go, Paris, Paris. And you'll come to think of it, I don't know if that's French. Anyway, that was the slow kid in the neighborhood. And every neighborhood had one. But that doesn't account for why there's so many fireworks going off. Because there can't be that many slow kids in this neighborhood. Unless vaccines really do cause autism. And autism have gone up 100-fold, which also very well may be the case. I've never seen the research. Who knows? I don't listen to experts. That's a logical fallacy to appeal to authority. I just make my own conclusions based on less information. Dude, that was the worst part about the internet, was people found out what logical fallacies are. So then they found out about the appeal to authority logical fallacy, and they're like, oh, of course. That means anytime someone who studied something their whole life says something, I don't have to believe it. Because I'm smarter. Working at a Texas Amco gas station. I'm smarter. Because I listen to 3 podcasts that lightly touch on conspiracy theories. I'm a genius. So anyway, it's like hard being a genius. Like, I'm really hungry now and I'm sweaty because I've turned off this air conditioner because I care about you guys. I don't want your ears to be hearing all kinds of white noise from the air conditioner. But I am naked. If that makes you feel a little put off, good. That's the point. I like when people are... Dude, have you ever... let's get into like a lighter topic here. You ever see Jean-Claude Van Damme movies? I like got into like a binge fest one day where I just watched every Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. And here's the thing. He's like a karate guy from the 80s. And like what movies can I equate him to? Like Steven Seagal movies, like big budget action movies but he like focuses around martial arts, like a lot of them do. Chuck Norris, it was after the explosion of Bruce Lee-esque films. The fusion of martial arts and cinematography. Well, Jean-Claude Van Damme, very similar to a lot of other martial artist movies. But I found one defining thing that Van Damme does. Bruce Lee, he would do that move where he would punch someone or kick someone's face on the ground and he'd go, "Ah!" And he'd make that face. That, like, I can't believe I'm killing someone right now face. Well, Van Damme's move, every movie without fail, whenever he's fighting the biggest, baddest guy, at some point, he just punches them in the nuts. That's his move, is to punch someone in the nuts. That's like against every ethics of martial arts. It's like, even in street fights, you all agree, okay, no fucking kicking in the nuts or gouging someone's eyes, everything else goes. And Van Damme said, fuck that. I'm the martial artist of nature. I don't live by rules. I will take what God gave you and turn it against you. Van Damme is male contraception. And I love it. That's what the thing about quarantine, it's like, you're learning a lot of new stuff, but a lot of the new stuff you're learning is useless. Like, when am I ever going to need to know? Unless, like, there's, like, some kind of knockoff Jeopardy one day where I can make hundreds of thousands of dollars knowing that he punches people in the nuts. It's like a Van Damme for 500, Alex? Who got punched in the kickboxer right in his little pecker? And I still wouldn't know that because that's like too intricate. Alright, so that's bad. I'm wasting time. I'm wasting time trying to look for another note because I want to keep you guys interested. There's a lot of podcasts out there, They say, I'm just going to record something and I don't care if people are listening. Well, that's the wrong way to go about it. They say, I want to be authentic. I want to be an authentic person. And I don't care what people think about me because I'm an authentic person. I'm just me. Well, no. I'm not that kind of guy. I care about you guys, okay? And I want you to have a good time. And I care what you think about me. So I'm not going to do things. Like, if there was something in me that wanted to just blurt out the N-word every 5 minutes, I'm a good guy and don't want to... Not that there is, but I'm a good guy and I would never do that. And because I care what you think. I care about social norms because I want to make you feel comfortable and I want to make you feel accepted right now on my podcast. And listen, disclaimer, never was going to say the N-word, but I'm just saying, if I ever had the urge and that was the authentic me, wouldn't be what I was doing. Because I'm here for you guys. I'm here for everyone listening. All two of you. Man, I really hate people on Instagram. Instagram is like where I go to... It's like a dirty, filthy pleasure. It's like where I go to... Because most of the people I follow on Instagram... I mean, no, not most of them, but I would say like half of them I don't like. And that's just being honest. They post things... And they're going the other direction. Like, there's people who are really authentic, which I appreciate. I'm not saying I'm one of the listeners who would get mad at them for being authentic. But there's also people who only want to be who you think they should be. And it's very obvious. Especially with the black squares thing, right? When that black squares things happen on Instagram, it's like, oh, but I know that you're like, if you had the opportunity to, you would hold someone back based on race. If it was... And that's almost worse than the people who are just like, yeah, I want a race war. Because there's those people on Instagram too that I've talked to. And they're like, yeah, I just want to do a race war. I just want to go on a freedom crusade or whatever they call it. Which it's like, that's bad too, but not as bad as pretending that you don't want to when you do. The one thing I don't get about doing the race war or the freedom crusade, whatever they call it, is they're like, you know, it's like all these guys who never served in the military but are very tactical. You know, they own 3 AR-15s, but they have no idea what it is to actually serve your country. They have no idea what it is to give anything for other people, and that's why they want to do this war. Like, guys who actually were in the military are like, yeah, no, violence is horrible. I hope we never have to bring that onto our own soil. But these guys, they think because you own guns, you're a patriot or whatever, and I don't get what their end game is. They're like, okay, so you start a race war, right? You go around, you kill crowds of people. Let's say high estimate, you kill 500 people that don't agree with you. Probably 100 of those people do agree with you, and they're just bystanders kills in the action. But then, what's the end game of that? You killed 500 people out of 350 million. And then now what happens? The government comes in, they kill you or probably your best friend or your racist best friend. They kill one of you. It ends with the government having more power than they did before. There's no way that a race war doesn't end in that. When you physically get violent battles between civilians. Because that's the government's way of saying, I'm protecting other civilians. If you fuck with the government as civilians, then the government says, well, fuck. If we attack them, then we're not going to get voted in again. But if you literally are just attacking other civilians who you deem don't agree with you, that's just going to end in the military coming and having more power and basically living in martial law. I mean, I know this isn't very funny, but I'm very concerned with the amount of people who are allowed to own guns that are this dumb, that think it's a good idea. What they say, they go around with this non-aggression libertarian principle. They talk about how, the government has too many rights. And then 5 minutes later, they're talking about how, like, we need to do a war with people so that the government can have more power. Because you'll never beat the government on an actual physical violent battle. Because FYI, they spend 60% of the money that you give them on people that can drop bombs without even figuring out what area code they're in. They can just bomb the whole city. So that's a good thing. Let's do more race wars. That'll probably end well for all of us. God, people are stupid. God, oh God. And like they also act like the right acts like people on the left don't also own guns. It's not that we don't own guns. It's that it isn't our identity. I have my friend Kyle. He owns, I think, a couple guns. Didn't know about it until quarantine. He's had guns for years. Just has guns. He doesn't need to feel the need to post all over Instagram. Oh, look at my gun, because my penis isn't, that big. Even though it's okay size, but, I'm still self-conscious because I watch too much porn. Or whatever those right-wing guys are. So, anyways, that got pretty heavy. And I think I'll end it there, because that's almost a half hour. And I might cut down a little bit of it, but if you're listening, I'm sweating so bad right now. I gotta turn this AC on and put my pants on. So, with that said, enjoy my breathing. And I don't even know if I'll do this again. I should do this again because it's therapeutic. Have a good day.